Hi guys, I'm just here this morning. I'm going to make a head mount for a GoPro. Now, the good thing about it is it'll actually work for most action cameras because a lot of this little connection here is universal throughout a lot of the different cameras. The things we're going to use today is a bicycle helmet. Now this is an old kid's bicycle helmet, it's probably over 10 years old. It's got a few dings and scratches and stuff like that. Basically, a lot of these safety items have a sell by or use by date. So this one, the plastics would have dried out at this stage, so probably is well off to get rid of it. Now if you don't have an old one, you can actually buy quite a cheap helmet for around about €8 or so. It doesn't matter if it's cheap because you're not actually using it as a protection device, you're actually going to break it up. So that's one of the main things we need. We're going to use the inner straps and the inner frame, which is adjustable on this, so as you can tighten it, which is always good if you're very active. That's one thing. We need a sharp knife. We need a cigarette lighter, just basically when we cut the straps that we can cauterize the ends of them or whatever you say, just to stop them from fraying. We need a hammer for modifying our brackets, which again are quite important. Now brackets are something you might not find in your house, but they're readily available in any hardware store. Even some of the ordinary shops might have L brackets. But we just have to modify these. We have to flatten them slightly so as they actually kind of shape to the contour of your forehead. And we also have to round these ends. That's kind of the most important thing, so that when we attach the mount for the action camera, it can be pivoted, because if it's left square it won't pivot. So they have to be modified. We have eye protection, of course, for while we're doing that. And then we have, it's like an old strap for a medal or something like that. It has writing on it, but basically you can glue this on when you're finished, just to cover over any of the stuff that looks a bit DIY. So that's nice to have as well. And of course scissors for cutting and clipping. We also have a little bit of double-sided sticky tape, which we can use just to help strengthen anything we attach to the frame, and also for putting on the writing onto the side. So that's it basically. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually smash up this guy and take all the parts out that we need. Now I would say that I had originally intended on buying one, but because we're between Christmas and New Year's, I basically can't get one posted to me in time, so look, we may as well make one. Okay, right guys, the next thing I want to deal with is the helmet. Now I find the best way to actually take out the internal part of the helmet is to break it rather than trying to cut it and risking cutting yourself or getting injured. It's also a good way to relieve stress. So the easiest way to do it, put it down kind of on grass like that, so as you don't completely break the inside of it, and then put your heel through the top. So there you go, all the foam is broken up inside, so we can just take out the straps like that, and then we pull out the inside, and none of the straps are damaged with knives or blades or anything, or your fingers, and we can discard this. The other good thing about it is that by smashing it up, no one's going to actually mistake it as a good helmet and bring it off cycling with them. So there we go, straight to the bin. So next thing we're going to do is just break off the last pieces of foam from inside the helmet. They're actually, it's quite stiff stuff, but that's basically that, taken off. And after that, what we need to do now is take off the straps, and rather than them going underneath, we'll say the halo, we actually have them going above it. So we'll start doing that now. So now we're just going to start the assembly of the strap. Again, you can see that we have the adjuster on the back, which is quite good because it goes right down to really small. Or for an adult, you can go right out. So that's good. It's a good size. So we just start doing the strap now. First thing I'm going to do is bring it up around the front like that and do a loop. So this one we're going to leave long, this one we'll leave shorter, so as we can adjust the different heights. Then I'm going to bring the other one up over so that it's actually coming out over the top like that. And then what we need to do is we need to basically just tape those in that position. So we'll go ahead and do that. Now you don't need to be too neat with your tape at this stage, because this will all be hidden once you put the front brackets on. So cross like that. Making sure to keep the two straps up and more or less to the middle. Gonna put this one. Go like this. Cross like that. Go. So I can just cut that off. Now we'll have them both coming from the same point at the front. Okay, so we'll get this short one and get it nice and straight and just pop it down through the gap at the back where it originally went through, but going the other direction. And then all we need to do is we take one of the old adjusters and we feed that back in around again. So in from this side. And like that. And actually, if you feed it back around and out again, it actually gives you a nice tight adjustment. But I don't need to do that now until we actually have it set to how tight you want it. Now the next one, we can feed that through. Again, try and bring it that it's nice and square as it comes over the top of the helmet, or the halo we'll call it this time. Feed that down through like so. Okay, now at this stage you can kind of put it on your head and just get them so that it's in a good position. Now you want it low down on your head, because when you tighten it you want it to grab your head. If it's too high up on your head, when you tighten it it'll just slip up. So make sure you leave enough. Now we'll also put something across the top to hold the two straps in position on top. Okay, so we'll do that now. So now I know where I can cut this. There's no harm in leaving them quite long, and then when you're completely finished and happy with it, even after using it for a day, cut them to whatever length you want at that stage, because once you cut them there's no going back. Now just going to pull that through to there for the time being, and that does that. Okay, now there are a couple of creases in it, but they'll eventually come out of it. Just pull that up to there. So that's that top section. Now it has a tendency to slide down the side of your head like that, so we're just going to make a little piece to keep those together. So get your piece that you cut off, give it a clip again like that. What you can do then is just bring it over the top like this and literally glue these two pieces together. So I would say that will be comfortable around about that area there. So what I'm going to do is make sure you have it going through those before you actually glue these. Now just see, sometimes you can actually put them together just by heating them. which will also stop them from fraying. So that should actually stick to that, like so. So that's kind of holding it in place for me. And what we can do then is find the center point. You can heat it again. Now be careful not to let it heat too much, because it will actually go on fire, and then you've got molten plastic, which isn't the best thing to have. So there we go. That's stuck together there now. Just to protect that, I'm going to cut a nice little piece of insulating tape or electrical tape. Obviously it's good to have black, it's less noticeable. Just put that around there, like so. Pull it nice and tight. And there you go. So that's that section done. Alright guys, so that's the actual halo attached to my head. With the straps adjusted, everything seems quite comfortable. I can tighten it and loosen it as I want. So next thing we need to do is to attach the brackets. So this is I suppose the most awkward part of it, because we have to do a little bit of grinding, a little bit of bending, and then we literally just attach them here onto the front, and then attach your mount to that. So next thing we're going to do, we sort the brackets out. Okay. Right guys, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just round the corners off the top of this, reduce the top section so as that the hole that's bored in this is in line with the bolt on the GoPro mount. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. Of course, always wear eye protection. Also have to do that on the other bracket as well. Now if you don't have a grinder like this, you can use a mini hacksaw or a small file or something like that. It will take a little bit of time, obviously a lot slower than this, so I'll just go ahead and grind the other one now. Now next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually straighten out the L brackets slightly. We want to straighten them so that when they're actually against your forehead, that they're square to each other. So obviously when my forehead is curved like everyone else's, so it means that at the front it's spread. So what we're going to do is we're going to straighten them slightly. Now there's two ways you can do it. You can either put them down something flat like that and hammer the back, but the problem with that is there are weak points where they're bored, so it will tend to bend there rather than here in the actual center point. So a better way to do it is hold it like a V, like that. Have it down on something solid, probably the ground, best place to do it, and hammer down into the actual V itself. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll do that now to get the shape right. And as we're doing it, we can keep on checking it against our forehead until it seems quite comfortable. It's probably better off to flatten it slightly more than you need, and it's actually more comfortable to wear then, rather than less than you need and finding later that it's actually quite uncomfortable after a long run. Okay, we'll do that. Okay, let's go. Okay, they look good. So we can now attach those to the helmet. Yeah, go. Alright guys, the next thing we need to do is to attach the brackets to the action camera mount, and then simply tape these brackets to the halo. So we'll go ahead and do that. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually attach the bracket. So this is the bolt that you normally get with the GoPro. Shove it through the bottom here. Get your other L bracket. Then place a small nut on that. And simply tighten it. So as you can see now, don't over tighten it because there's actually no support in the center of the bracket. That's something like a washer you could put in at some other stage, but I'm not going to do that now because it'll take too much time. So as you can see, I have it tightened on, holding the brackets. It can be pivoted quite a bit, which is good. And the bend on this here should somewhat correspond to my forehead. Yeah, pretty good. Right. So I'm just going to actually keep the camera perfectly square like that, tighten it a little bit more, and then find the center point on the actual, we'll say the halo device, and very simply we start to tape that in position. Again, you don't have to be too neat with this tape because we're going to cover that over. But at the same time, try not to actually ball it up or put too many creases in it because you might just feel that in your forehead. So wrap around about 3 times, should be plenty. Obviously you want a certain amount of strength in it because it's going to be taking a bit of a bashing. The next up the other side, try and square it up. Obviously, the neater it looks, usually the better it will work. So there we go. Nice and tight, around about 3 times. And that's that. Okay, so I can loosen this, tip it back, and place it on my head just to see. Yeah, it's quite comfortable. And as you can see, it's quite tight. You can actually make it tighter. Yeah, so that's good. Next thing I'm going to do is we're just going to stick the pad from the back of the helmet to the front here, and it'll just make it a little bit more comfortable even again. So we can do that. I'm going to fold it back either side so that it creates a well for where the actual straps are strapped on, and that way then you won't feel those. Okay, so after we've done that, the next thing we do is we put the banding around here, and that actually tidies the whole thing up. Okay, so we're going to do that with some double-sided sticky tape as well as this guy here, but I'll tape them at the same time. Alright guys, that's it finished. It's nice and comfortable, seems to do the job. It's quite tight on my head when I adjust it right in. The camera itself is working fine. You can still loosen it and tilt it down. You can look at yourself if you want. And up like that, tighten it in. Straps are good and firm. It looks tidy. It doesn't look like it's actually homemade. And I think altogether this probably cost me less than €2 between everything. So yeah, so it's a cheap way around making your own head mount for any kind of action camera. We're just using a GoPro at the moment because I had all the fit for a GoPro, but it'll use most standard type action cameras. So that's basically it. Hope to hit to the mountains now in the next couple of hours. We'll see how that goes. Thanks for watching.